Yeah, just a quick review of Blue Stop Max Muscle and Joint Relief Gel. So basically, starting at the beginning, what's it for? I mean, why would you consider using something like this? Well, it's just to relieve any muscle or joint pain that you might be having. So, for instance, let's say, you have knee arthritis, arthritis in the joint. It'd be good to try for that. Or let's say you like had a busy Saturday, you went out and you started to garden. You garden for a couple hours. You're not really used to gardening that much or bending over a lot. Or say you went over and you had helped a friend move for a couple hours, and you're just not used to all that lifting. You wake up next morning, your back's hurting you. Be another good reason to try something like this. So what's in it? I mean, like what makes it work? Well, anytime you're considering using a product like this, you need to ask yourself one thing. What are the active ingredients? So what's an active ingredient? Well, it's any ingredient that has a direct biological effect or pharmacological activity in your body. So in other words, these are the ingredients in the product that really do the heavy lifting and really make it work. So in the case of the Blue Stop, as far as I can tell, the main active ingredient is menthol. I went through all the ingredients, and I think that's the only active ingredient I can see. Now, most products will go ahead and they'll list them right off the bat. These are the active ingredients. Blue Stop didn't actually, one of the few products that I've evaluated that don't actually go out of their way to say this is the active ingredient. I'm not really sure why, but it does have menthol in it, and menthol is listed as an active ingredient in a lot of other pain relief rubs and ointments and lotions and creams. So I'm just going to go ahead and assume that the active ingredient, the main one, is menthol. So how does menthol work? Well, basically menthol gives you a cooling sensation when you put it on your skin. So this stimulates the nerves and it kind of helps block the pain. So that's kind of how that works. So the overall big question is, do you get permanent relief or temporary relief from something like this? Well, I think there actually are some cases where you could get permanent relief from using a product like this. Going back to the example, let's say you overworked your back muscles are tight, maybe they feel like in spasm. That all can create pain, can create spasm, and the spasm can create pain in the muscles. So here again, it's kind of a cycle that you can get sometimes if your pain is muscular. They call this the pain spasm pain cycle. So if your pain is mainly coming muscular in origin, I think if you use this once and it gives you total relief or partial relief, and then use it again, use it once or twice, it breaks up that pain spasm pain cycle, and the muscles kind of go back to normal and they start resetting themselves. So then you would get permanent relief from that. Fortunately, there is a lot of pain that becomes chronic, something like knee arthritis. And for that, something like this probably isn't like a one-shot, hey, I got rid of my knee arthritis. But, however, I think you can go on to get permanent relief if you use this with something else. So I think to get rid of chronic pain, or at least to get it under very manageable control, you need to have a multi-pronged treatment approach. In other words, it's going to take several things to get you where you need to be. And I think this is one of them. So let me use an example. Okay, let's say you have problems in your back. You did too much bending over. Things are irritated. Maybe it's the muscles, maybe it's the joint or a combination. And so what else can you do? You've used this. Hey, it only works for a little while. Well, there are other things that can help get rid of back pain. So, for instance, exercise. There's a lot of research showing that if you exercise and you strengthen and you stretch the back muscles, it actually can get rid of chronic back pain, or at least get under a very manageable control. But hey, you can't do that now because your back hurts. So what you do is you put this stuff on, and now you're getting some relief, and now you can do some exercise. So let's say, for instance, again, this stuff from Treat Your Own Spinal Stenosis. There's a muscle in your back. For instance, what I would do is get called your multifidus muscle. So this is kind of like cutting edge research stuff. If you Google the multifidus muscle, here's a picture of it. It runs up and down your whole back. It's not one muscle, but a series of muscle that go level to level. So what they're finding now when they're researching this muscle in people with back pain, they look at people that have like herniated discs, spinal stenosis, chronic back pain, even people with acute back pain, there's problems with the multifidus muscle. Say you've had surgery and you're still having back pain, they go around sticking that muscle with an EMG needle. They find it's not conducting like it should. All these particular back problems they're doing research on, they're finding either the multifidus is smaller than normal on one side, or it's just not conducting like it should. So in other words, if you don't get that good muscular stability, that's going to create a lot of pain. So here again, what you can do is you put that cream on, you do some multifidus strengthening exercises. And research is showing that if you strengthen your multifidus muscles in your back, then the pain goes away. So there are things you do. So that's how you get the permanent. That's what I'm talking about, like the multi-pronged treatment approach. There's a lot of multifidus exercises in here if it sounds like something you're interested in. And there's other things going on too in the back pain world, like proprioception. That's your position sense. So if you're sitting down, without even looking, you know whether your knee is bent or straight, and that's because your proprioception or position sense. That's the feedback you get from your muscles and your joints, from the nerves, and they tell you what position you're in. So they're finding with people with back pain actually have problems like decreased proprioception. So there's exercises you can do for that. But anyway, that's the stuff that gives you the long-term relief. This is the stuff that will enable you to do the exercises to get that long-term relief. So yeah, good product. Check